Hi guys, it is Sandra Jones. How are you? I want to thank Sarah for inviting me to come and talk to you all about pain in this health summit, which I'm so excited to be a part of this week. So pain is a huge topic, so I really hope that I do credit to it, because what pain means for one person may mean something very different for you and for the person next to you, and our experience of pain and how it impacts our life is very, very personal. So I just want to pay credit to that and the fact that there are so many different types of pain. You know, you've got musculoskeletal pain, like your joints and your muscles, but then you've also got visceral pain, what's happening inside. Perhaps it's endometriosis or fibroids or adhesions. You know, we've got neuropathic pains. Pain is huge, and pain can also be tied up with our emotional state as well. And there's a really great video that I would love to share with you that talks about pain and how it can kind of intertwine with the rest of our life and with our mental health, and some of the strategies that we can consider when we're looking at dealing with pain and actually getting to the root cause of it, and the different resources that we can reach out to help us with that. So I'm going to tag that video both in the written blurb, on the post, as well. I'm going to share it to the group because I think it is so important, and I really would love it if you would spend 5 minutes watching it. It's an easy watch, but it's got some very pertinent topics. So if you are someone that is managing pain on a daily basis, please watch this video. And the next part of that is that later this week, Sarah is going to be doing an emotional aromatherapy session. And I would implore you, if you are dealing with pain on a daily level, to also watch Sarah's emotional aromatherapy session, because the two will be closely interrelated. Okay, we know that that significant pain can really affect our mood. And when our mood is affected, it actually affects the way that our body perceives pain, and it turns into this vicious cycle. So if we can utilize a two-prong approach where we can look after our emotional health as well as our physical health, then we have a much better chance at actually finding a winning combination of essential oils and allied therapies or traditional medical therapies that may actually help you. Okay, and I guess with that, I need to kind of make a couple of disclaimers. Firstly, I am here talking to you as Sandra Jones. I am not a professional, okay? I am not a doctor. I am not here to cure, diagnose, treat, or prevent anything that ails you. I am here to share with you my own personal experiences and things that I've researched for myself that I plan on implementing for myself and my family, or perhaps that I already do. And I'm empowering you to own your health and own your body, and to take on board the information that we share this week, and then work out how that fits in with your life and with your current health status. Go and talk to the people that are important to you, like your doctor, your pharmacist, or your natural therapist, okay? And discuss, the potential benefits of introducing some of the things that you hear about this week. So with that, I've got one more disclaimer to make as well. The session tonight's not going to be very compliant. I'm really sorry about that, Sarah. I am just hopeless at talking in cryptic clues. It's not me. I'm a science geek. I love science, and I love having an evidence base to do with everything that I do. Okay, so I love my essential oils, but I love knowing why they work. So that's kind of where this talk is going to head today. So bear with me. If you are not a science geek and you just want to know some good essential oils to use for pain, let me jump straight to the chase so that you can turn off. Lemongrass, marjoram, lavender, frankincense, copaiba, aromatouch, ice blue. That's what we're going to be talking about. So if you're not interested in the science behind it or how they kind of work, different things that they're good for, you can turn off now and be happy that you can utilize any of those oils. There's a stack more as well, but let's get science geek on, hey? Science geek speak, here we come. So the first oil that I would like to talk about today is lemongrass. So lemongrass is very cool. It's It's really interesting. Lemongrass is a really great analgesic, which is a pain relief. And different research organisations have done various studies. Sometimes they use animals, sometimes they use people, sometimes they use Petri dishes. I do want to say straight up that doTERRA have a policy of never testing on animals. Okay, so anytime you see research or hear me talking about research that involves animals, it has not been doTERRA that has done this research. Okay, it's been a third party. I just want you to be clear on that. They've got a very, very clear policy about testing on animals. But there were some researchers that wanted to look at how lemongrass works for pain. And so they needed an animal model to trial it on, and they chose mice. And so they had mice with pain and they applied lemongrass, and they noticed that the mice seemed to have significant pain relief. And they were trying to work out, well, what is it about lemongrass that actually creates the pain relief? And the biggest chemical constituent in lemongrass is something called citral. It wasn't that. They worked their way through and they realized that it was actually the beta-mycin in the lemongrass that invoked in the mice, in the body. The beta-mycin actually tells the body to make its own endogenous opioids. And opioids are like a pain relief, okay? And the way that they tested this is that they actually gave the mice Narcan or naloxone, which is the reversant for opiates, okay? And they found that the pain relief went away. So they knew that something was binding onto the same receptors that opiates bind in our body. And it wasn't the lemongrass, because the lemongrass isn't an opiate, but the lemongrass was actually getting the body to make its own pain relief. Okay, so that's really cool. The other part that I find super interesting is that they worked out that the mice never developed a tolerance to the lemongrass. So unlike traditional pharmaceuticals, where if you take them day in, day out, your body actually gets used to it and you need to start taking higher and higher doses in order to get similar effects, they couldn't do that with lemongrass. The body didn't need to. It never developed a tolerance, which meant that it remained equally as effective on day 20 as it did on day 1. So that is super cool. They've also worked out that lemongrass is a really good anti-inflammatory. So that's another way that it can help with relieving pain. Lemongrass has also been looked at. So one of the things that I find really interesting when I look at different studies is how the different oils, they may say that it's an analgesic, but it may be an analgesic in a particular area better than another, okay? So one of the things that they've been looking at with lemongrass is actually how it works with head tension, a significant head tension that sometimes people take quite strong pain relievers for, okay? What they found is that lemongrass works in the 5-HT receptors, which is our selective serotonin agonists, and it actually works to block them the same as the triptan medications do. So it becomes super effective for helping with head tension. Okay, so you might choose to use it diluted and rubbed into the back of your neck or on your temples or something like that if you're needing it to help with head tension. So I'm not saying that it's going to be the answer for you. I'm just saying that there's research out there that supports the use of lemongrass for head tension as well as a pain relief, okay, within the body. Another oil that I find really fascinating is marjoram. So marjoram is a beautiful, warming, soothing oil. It is great for relaxing your muscles and for releasing tension within the body. Diluted, mixed with lemongrass, lovely. Okay, it smells beautiful and has a really potent effect. So anti-inflammatory, pain relief, soothing, relaxing, it's great. Interestingly, there's been quite a lot of studies done about marjoram and period pain. Okay, so marjoram is an emmenagogue, which means that it encourages the body to increase circulation into the pelvic region, which does mean that if you are pregnant, you need to use marjoram with caution because it promotes activity and blood flow in the pelvis, okay, which also includes the uterus. So be cautioned with that. But for the rest of us, in all our different stages of life, marjoram is a really handy one to have in our toolkit. So there's been some studies this time done on females that have some dysmenorrhea, some really painful periods, people that are taking, again, some nice strong pain relief for it, okay? They did a study where people were using marjoram, clary sage, and lavender. And there's another study that just used marjoram, and another one that had marjoram and lavender. And then they had a control group which had a synthetic version, so smelt the same, okay, but had no physical properties, okay? And what they found is that in the study group, that the pain relief for painful periods was really quite substantial, and people equated it to being equivalent to their pharmaceutical pain relief, okay? So it can certainly have some great soothing benefits to all sorts of body parts, okay? From your sore back and your sore neck through to your tummy. It's also a great antispasmodic. So if you're someone that suffers from a lot of calf cramps or thigh cramps, then marjoram may be a useful one for you. And it's also one of the things that they're looking at as well with why it works so well with periods, is that if there's a type of a spasm of the uterus as we kind of have our period. There you go, marjoram. So I'm covering off on a whole heap of different topics here because pain is so varied, okay? You might be someone that thinks of pain whenever you get a headache, or you might have it monthly with your period, or you may have a chronic backache, or perhaps you've got something else going on. So I'm just going to try and cover off on a whole heap of different things, and just bear with me. And as I say, do your own research as well, okay? Don't trust what I'm saying to you. Just use it as an information base for you to now bounce your own ideas off of. So I mentioned that one of the studies had marjoram, clary sage, and lavender. So lavender. Sometimes we overlook the simplest essential oils because they're so common that we think that it couldn't possibly work for something as significant as pain, all right? But lavender, we know, is amazingly soothing and calming to our nervous system, okay? It is equally soothing and calming to muscles. It is a natural analgesic. It is a natural anti-inflammatory. So diluted lavender, okay, applied to sore muscle, achy joints, can be extremely beneficial. So they have also done some studies. I told you I'm big on the evidence. They've also done some studies about lavender being effective for pain relief. And so there's two studies that I thought were pretty cool. One involved children, one involved adults. With the children, they looked at kids that had their tonsils out. Okay, a really common occurrence, unfortunately, for our kids. So they had, again, two groups, because you've always got to have a control. You've got to know what you're comparing, you know, you've got to have apples with apples, yeah. So they had one group of kids that had their tonsils out and were simply on the normal pain relief regime, okay? So they were taking daily pain relief to try and help with the discomfort from their tonsillectomy. The other group was also taking that daily pain relief, okay? Exactly the same stuff. But this time they were also inhaling lavender essential oil every day. And they looked at what happened with people's perceptions of pain. And what they found is that in the study group, the kids that smelled the lavender didn't need as many pharmaceuticals. So they were able to get off the pharmaceuticals faster, all right, and experience less pain than the kids that weren't sniffing the lavender. So they extrapolated from that the lavender helped to soothe some of both the feelings of anxiousness associated with the discomfort and the discomfort itself. So there you go. That was with the kids. With the adults, they did a similar type of thing. It wasn't tonsillectomies, it was something else. And these were adults that were taking a strong pain reliever. And they found that when lavender was applied topically to the skin, the adults in the study arm that used the lavender experienced almost the same amount of pain relief as those that were using the pharmaceuticals. So again, they extrapolated from that lavender was an effective pain relief. And so that was for muscular aches and pains, all right? So there you go. There's like 3 essential oils that work beautifully together, that all have some evidence base behind them, and can all be applied topically, okay? As well as you can inhale them and get the beautiful aromatic effects as well. But now I want to move on to 2 that we can use topically, we can use aromatically, and that people also use internally. So the first one I want to talk about is frankincense. So you may have heard the saying, when in doubt, get Frankie out. It holds true when it comes to pain as well. Frankincense is actually a really powerful anti-inflammatory, and that is where its biggest analgesic properties come from, is actually by reducing inflammation within the body. So you can do that by applying it topically, and it works really effectively. You can also use it aromatically to help with some of the distress and the anxiousness that's also associated with pain. But a lot of people find that when they take a drop of frankincense under the tongue or a drop or two of frankincense in a capsule, that it works even more effectively. And the reason behind that, from what I can gather, the reason behind that is that it does have a bit more of a systemic effect. Its effects are more potent and more powerful when it is actually ingested internally. Doesn't taste the best. It is an acquired taste, but a drop or two under the tongue, it really does an amazing thing. It does amazing things for my nerves, and it can really help. It can really help with some aches and pains and discomforts as well. So frankincense can be teamed with any of the other oils, can be used in isolation, can be used internally. All right. Dr. Hill has spoken at multiple conferences where he has supported the use of frankincense daily for its great antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties. Alrighty. One that I wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about was copaiba. So this is one that I still receive a lot of questions about. It was released 12 months ago at last year's convention, I think it was. And, you know, it made a lot of headlines because there were some comparisons being made between copaiba and another substance like legalized CBD oil or marijuana oil, okay? And I just wanted to talk about how copaiba actually does work within the body. And to compare it to CBD oil isn't exactly fair because they work on slightly different receptors, okay? So within our body, I'm just going to pull out my cheat sheet so that I don't miss too much. Okay, so within our body, we all have an endocannabinoid system. This system, let me just pull up my thing. This system helps our body to manage anxiety, inflammation, modulates the immune system, and lots of other physiological responses to different forms of stress. Okay, just needed to get that one out. There are two types of cannabinoid receptors within our body. We've got CB1 and CB2 receptors. Now, the CB1 receptors are the ones that are associated with feelings of euphoria. It's the ones that help us get the munchies, and it's also kind of the addictive receptor as well. And then the other receptor is the CB2 receptor, and the CB2 receptor is the one that is involved with our endocrine and our immune function, okay? And you'll be pleased to know that copaiba works on our CB2 receptor. It doesn't have a euphoric effect. So there are three types, so that you understand the difference, because this is the question I always get asked, right? So that you understand the difference between what is hemp oil and what is copaiba, okay? So there are three different cannabinoids that work on our endocannabinoid system. You've got THC, which stands for tetrahydrocannabinol, and that directly affects the CB1 receptors, okay? That's what's in marijuana. That's what gives you the high, the munchies, the everything else, all right? Then you've got beta-carotene, which is often abbreviated down to BCP. So beta-carotene is the one that you get from dietary sources, okay? So that's from rosemary, black pepper, cloves, copaiba, as well as cannabis, okay? And the beta-carotene directly affects the CB2 receptor, and that's the one for endocrine and immune. The last type of cannabinoid that we have is the CBD oil, which is cannabidiol, and that's a naturally occurring component in hemp and in the marijuana plant, and it indirectly affects most of the CB2 receptors. So depending on if you're smoking a joint or having the CBD oil or having the copaiba will kind of depend on the effect that you're going to be getting in the body. The therapeutic component of copaiba is the beta-carotene. So hemp oil has around 35% beta-carotene. Copaiba has around 60%. So copaiba is much more effective at targeting those CB2 receptors than what the hemp oil is, okay? But the CBD, like the hemp oil, does have some CB1 receptor play as well. So it's not exactly comparing apples to apples. However, anecdotally, People that have been using hemp oil and have then tried Copaiba have said that they're very similar, and in some cases some people have said that they've had a much better result with Copaiba than they have with hemp, but it is anecdotal, all right? I haven't been able to find any good research to support that one way or the other. So because there's no psychoactive highs, the potential for any addiction is actually really low with Copaiba. In fact, you could utilize Copaiba and the effect that it has on the CB2 to help you get over addictive behaviors. Okay, that is one of the things that has been well researched. Now, so beta-carotene is what we're kind of after with the Copaiba. There are other essential oils that also have beta-carotene in them. So if you are looking at teaming up your Copaiba, so you're wanting to maximize the amount of beta-carotene that you have in your system, you may consider black pepper, which has got 21% beta-carotene. Melissa has 13%, ylang ylang 13%, clove 8%, helichrysum 5%, juniper berry 5%. So all of these would also be useful oils to consider incorporating into a blend. Okay. What else can I tell you about Copaiba? So we can use it aromatically, we can use it topically. This is another one that is also quite useful for taking under the tongue. Okay, and just let me always reiterate that when I talk about taking essential oils internally, I am referring to doTERRA essential oils, okay? I'm not referring to any other brand of essential oil. I can't speak for them or vouch for them for safe for internal use. The way that I know that doTERRA essential oils are safe, and I've got one from the US and one from Australia, so I can show you the difference. In Australia, if an oil is safe for internal use, it will have a direction for use in there. And this one says, for food flavoring, dilute 1 drop in food or liquid, okay? The Copaiba, this one is actually from the US, and it has a supplements fact sheet on there, okay? Again, that tells me that it is safe for internal ingestion. It means that these oils have actually been given the third-party government tick of approval, generally regarded as safe, as a food additive, okay? They are safe for us to take internally. Never take an essential oil that doesn't have an instruction on there to say that it's been deemed safe by the food standards of Australia and New Zealand, okay? So Copaiba can be taken internally, as can frankincense, drop under the tongue, again can be extremely beneficial for really supercharging your management of pain. Alrighty. That leads me into our blends. Covered so much information. I hope I'm not overwhelming you. It takes us into our blends. I'm not going to spend a huge amount of time on them because they've been designed specifically to work synergistically together, okay, to create powerful muscle and ache soothing mixtures, all right, formulations. The first one I want to have a quick chat about is the AromaTouch. So it's a proprietary blend. It's got, what has it got? It's got cypress, peppermint, marjoram, basil, grapefruit, and lavender in there. So we've already spoken about the lavender. Cypress is amazing for circulation. In fact, it actually encourages the body to create new circulation from older blood vessels. How cool is that? And so we know that circulation is really important when we need to heal something, okay? We need to make sure that there is lots of blood supply to the area to promote good healing. So cypress is really good for that. Peppermint is cooling and soothing. It also peppermint actually helps to drive other oils deeper into the tissues, which is great, and it's a good support for the nerves. Marjoram, we've spoken about, incredible for spasms, pain relief, and anti-inflammatory. Basil, very similar to marjoram, great for spasms and sore muscles. It's also a diuretic, so it can help when we're suffering a little bit of fluid retention, because sometimes fluid retention can actually be a cause of pain. Grapefruit improves circulation. It is an anti-inflammatory. It's also very calming and uplifting to the emotions. And lavender, as we've spoken about, is extremely soothing and great for releasing tension in muscles, as well as being a natural anti-inflammatory and analgesic. A little bit excited. This month is a 200 PV promo month, which means that you could score these bad boys for free. And that's like $98 worth of value right there that you could get absolutely free this month through doTERRA. So make sure that you talk to the person who invited you to this event about how you can do that if you haven't already heard the promo, okay? So the Ice Blue, which is also known as Deep Blue if you're from the States, the Ice Blue has got, so this is our athletic blend, or doTERRA's athletic blend, okay? The oil and the rub, so this rub has the oil in it, okay, in an emollient base. The oil has in it camphor, peppermint, ylang ylang, helichrysum, blue tansy, blue chamomile, and osmanthus. So why is this so amazing? Well, it provides a very soothing, cooling sensation that is perfect for a comforting massage. That's about the only compliant thing I've said the entire session. Anyway, we've spoken about peppermint already. You remember that I mentioned that ylang ylang had a nice percentage of the beta-carothylin in it. So that's really good for our endocannabinoid system. The camphor is known for its anti-inflammatory, analgesic, and it's actually a mild anesthetic as well. Helichrysum, awesome for bone pain and joint discomfort. Blue tansy, cooling effects and can be soothing to inflammation and nerve-related discomforts. Blue chamomile, great for inflammation, muscle spasms, and rheumatic pain. Osmanthus helps to soothe the muscles. Now, the oil is wonderful. The rub is brilliant, okay? The oil works very quickly, but for me, it tends to dissipate reasonably quickly as well, whereas the rub takes a little bit longer to get started, but then lasts a long time as well. What you can do with any of these oils, okay, but I love teaming these two up in particular, or sometimes I actually team up the Aromatouch and the Ice Blue Rub. What I do is if I have an acute pain that I want to get on top of, I actually utilize the oils in a carrier directly onto my skin because I want that quick, fast punch, okay? And then I layer on top of it the Ice Blue Rub because having that emollient base, it's kind of like a thicker cream, okay? It traps the oil onto my skin, which allows it to absorb well into my circulation, making sure that I get maximal absorption, and then I still get the Ice Blue in the rub soaking in over the next couple of hours, okay? With all of the essential oils, you are better to do a small amount regularly than trying to do a big hit once a day and expecting to have great results, okay? The body tries to metabolize your essential oils out of the system within about 4 hours. So you need to be thinking every couple of hours, every 4 hours that you're going to be topping up. The body doesn't store essential oils for a rainy day, which means that you will need to provide a continual supply if you are after some good results or you're after a continual effect, okay? So some different ways that we can utilize our essential oils and ways to maximize the absorption. What I want you to remember is that that whenever I talk about using essential oils topically on your skin, I always use a carrier oil. Very, very rarely do I use an essential oil neat. 2 reasons. One is that using a carrier oil minimizes the risk of any skin sensitization. And secondly, essential oils are volatile, which means that they want to flash off. So, and by flash off, I mean evaporate. So when I use a carrier, the carrier is a bit bigger particle. It doesn't evaporate as quick, which means that it holds the essential oil against my skin, much like the emollient base in the Ice Blue Rub, okay? So we can use our essential oils topically, and you want to try and put them as close as you can to the part of you that is sore, all right? If you have any open wounds, cuts or grazes or something like that, avoid those areas and just try and go up as close as you can to the area that's sore for you, okay? That will give you the fastest localized effect. The oils will absorb into your system and work systemically, meaning from top to toe, okay? But we want it to work first and primarily where you are most sore, so that's where we're going to apply the oils. You can, of course, use the essential oils aromatically. So in your diffuser, create a personal diffuser by popping a drop in your hand, breathing them in, okay? Particularly beneficial for helping with those feelings of distress that are associated with pain, okay? We can use our essential oils in the bath. Make sure that you, again, we want to dilute them, okay? We want to work safely with them. So just pop them in a little bit of soap or shampoo or bubble bath. Mix them with some carrier oil in the water so that you just don't get, I'm particularly thinking of your sensitive spots, okay? Just so that when you get in the bath, you're not getting a hit of lemongrass where you didn't want it, okay? Make sure that the oils are well dispersed in your water. Epsom salts or magnesium chloride and essential oils are a match made in heaven, okay? Beautiful and relaxing for your muscles. Other ways that you can think about maximizing your essential oil absorption. Heat is a great thing, okay? When you apply heat to an area, you increase circulation, which is blood flow. The more you increase blood flow, the faster the oils are absorbed into your system and are able to do their job systemically in your body. So once you pop some essential oils on your skin, nothing's stopping you getting a heat pack and then putting the heat over the top of them, okay? Be aware that on some of the spicier oils, like the ice blue, okay, that it will seem to intensify that spiciness, all right? So be aware of that. You may, conversely, prefer to use a cold compress. So what I mean by a cold compress is I would get you to fill up your kitchen sink, not all the way, put a small amount of water in your kitchen sink, add say 10 drops, so a decent amount, 10 drops of essential oils into the water, then grab yourself a cloth and submerge it in the water. Wring it out and then apply that cold compress to wherever it is that is sore. Water and oils don't mix. So the water is going to want to repel the oil. The oils will want to attract to the oils on your skin. Okay, I told you I was a science geek. And so the natural oils on your skin will attract the essential oils out of the water, okay? And then the water pushes the essential oils deeper into your tissues. So compresses, like water compresses with essential oils, are actually a really effective way of getting them into your system. And likewise, you don't have to always do a cold compress. You could do a warm compress as well if you're after some soothing warmth as well. Works in exactly the same way. And of course, we can use internally. The two out of everything that I've spoken about today, the two that are most commonly utilised internally would be frankincense and copaiba when helping with those feelings of distress and wanting the anti-inflammatory type properties. Wow, 30 minutes. We have spoken about so much stuff. I hope that I've done it justice. I hope that I haven't gone completely over your heads with any of the science geek, or conversely, I didn't talk enough about it. Somewhere in there is going to be a sweet spot, and I hope that I've kind of hit the mark for you. Again, let me emphasize just how cool I think this 5-minute video that I want to share with you is. So please spend some time and just watch that. I would love for you to watch Sarah's session that she does later this week on the emotional aromatherapy. I think talking about pain and emotions together is really beneficial. If you have questions, please leave them under this post, all right? I will try my best to answer them for you. Reach out to the person that invited you to this event and sit down and have a conversation with them. Sit down and have a conversation with one of your healthcare providers if you've got any questions as well, alrighty? I really hope that I've given you some insight into the variety of essential oils. Now, I've only skimmed the surface, okay? These are just like my favorites. These are my personal favorites. There are so many essential oils that can work brilliantly to help you manage your pain on a daily level, okay? So don't forget, we're always wanting to look at what the root cause of the problem is. You're going to have to work with some health professionals to actually get down to the nitty-gritty of it all. But I can certainly share with you my experiences of these favorite oils, okay, for helping relieve the discomforts that I manage within my family on a day-to-day basis. So thank you very much for having me. I look forward to talking with you again soon. Bye.